Okay, so we are going to start the on-ramp 6.4. We are going to expanded form and then back into exponential form. So we saw exponential form yesterday. That'd be something like x to the fifth, where this x is the base and this 5 is the exponent. Okay, so let's start there. X to the fifth. And if we want to write it in exponential form, we're just going to take our base number and write it the amount of times that the exponent is. So how many times are we going to write the x? 5 times. So it's just x times x times x times x times x. And that's our answer. Okay, we're just expanding that out. It's the expanded form. But we can also do this when we have multiple bases. So in our second example, we have the bases 3x and y. So 3 cubed times x squared times y to the fourth. And if we expand this out, how many 3's do we have? 3, right? We're going to multiply 3 by itself 3 times. How many x's do we have? 2. X times x. And how many y's do we have? 4, right? 4 y's. And that's all they want. We don't need to simplify it yet. When they ask for the expanded form, we're just writing it out the long way. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Does that make sense? All right, moving on. Now we want to expand, but we have multiplication and division. So our problem is 10 to the fourth times 10 divided by 10 squared. And looking at that 10 that doesn't have an exponent, what is the imaginary exponent on it?
1.
1, right? We don't write ones typically in math. So I think it helps to write an imaginary 1. And when we have the same base and we are multiplying and dividing, we're going to add the exponents. Add the exponents when we multiply. And when we divide, we are going to subtract the exponents. So if we have 10 to the fourth times 10 to the first divided by 10 squared, we're just going to add and subtract these exponents. So if it's multiplication, we're adding. So 4 plus 1 is
5.
Minus 2 is 3. So we have 10 3's, or excuse me, 3 10's. And our expanded form is just going to be 10 times 10 times 10. Yep.
Is it okay if I put as reference 10 3 or 10 times 10? Just like for reference.
Yep. And then if we want to simplify this, going down here, how many 10's do we have? 3 of them. So let's write that base number, and we have 3 of them. So our simplified form would be 10 to the third. Does that make sense? For the expanded form, depends kind of what question you're on. They'll probably want you to do this, but they might want you to write a fraction. So they might want you to write your 10 or your 10's on top. And remember, 4 plus 1, we had 5 10's on top, divided by, we could make a fraction with 2 10's on the bottom. Okay, they're probably going to want the blue one, but if that is wrong, expand it all the way out with this. Okay. And then one more, kind of a tougher one. We have 2 fractions, we're going to multiply them. Okay, remember from the funny video yesterday, what did we do when we multiplied fractions?
Multiply straight across.
Yeah, we multiplied straight across, so we're still going to multiply straight across here. So we have 6 squared a to the fourth, b to the first, right? That's that imaginary 1, times 6 to the first, a to the fourth. And then that's all going to be divided by 6 to the fourth, a to the first, times 6 to the fifth, b to the third. And we are going to multiply straight across. And we're only going to multiply the same bases, right? Like bases. So just looking at the top, how many 6s do we have? 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. So let's write 6 to the third. And how many a's do we have on top? 8. 4 and 4, you add them up, we have 8 a's. And how many b's do we have? 1, so we're just going to write b to the first. I like to write that 1 because it helps us simplify later. And then on the bottom, 6 to the fourth times 6 to the fifth, that's 6 to the ninth. And a to the first, there's no a over here, so we're just going to write a to the first. And then moving on to b to the third, there's no other b's, so we're just going to leave it as is. Okay, I'll give you a second to kind of catch up. So once these are all in one fraction, we can go ahead and simplify. This will be our last step. Just looking at our 6s. We have 6 to the third on top and 6 to the ninth on the bottom. Okay. We are going to cross out the smaller one, 3 smaller than 9. And what is 9 minus 3? 6. So we're going to cross off that 9. And in our fraction, we have 6 to the sixth on the bottom. There was a 3 exponent on top, a 9 exponent on the bottom. Those are going to cancel out. 9 minus 3 leaves us 6 on the bottom. Okay. Moving on to a to the 8th and a to the first. Which number is bigger? Which exponent is bigger? 8. So we're going to write this one on top. What's 8 minus 1? 7. So we're going to have an a to the 7 on top because the 8 was bigger. And looking at the b's, we have an exponent of 1 and an exponent of 3. So where are we going to write the b? On the bottom, because 3 is bigger. What's 3 minus 1? 2. So we're going to write a b squared on the bottom. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right.